Well, topic number 4, melody and harmony together, matching primary chords with melody. Now that we've covered both musical notation of pitch and rhythm and labels for harmony, we can talk about combining harmony and melody. You know, there are harmonic implications to just about every melody in Western music, and there are melodic options for every harmony. So we're going to talk about how to harmonize a melody and then how to melodize a harmony. For this course, we're only going to use the 3 primary chords, as we sometimes call them, the 1, the 4, and the 5 in a major key. We can put this into the key of C in order to see it on a keyboard, or we can put it on a musical staff, but for our purposes, we're going to be using numbers as we've been doing. So keep this in mind. When we talk about chord numbers, we use 1, 4, and 5, the Arabic numbers. When we talk about scale degree, or what they call pitch class numbers, we sometimes put a caret over the top of the number, this little pointy thing. It's hard to type, but it's easy to write by hand. So that way you know when we put the little caret over it, we're talking about the individual note. And when we're just writing the number, we're talking about the chord number, the Nashville number. All right, so here goes. In any given key, the 1 chord is made up of pitches, 1, 3, 5. And the 4 chord has 4, 6, and 1. 4, 6, 8 is 1. And the 5 chord has 5, 7, and 2, compound interval 2. Okay, so 1, 3, 5, 4, 6, 1, 5, 7, 2. Notice that the 1 chord shares scale degree 1 with chord 4. It shares scale degree 5 with chord 5. So the 1 chord has only 1 scale degree, 3, that's unique to itself, while 4 and 5 chords have 2 notes that are uniquely theirs. The 4 chord has 4 and 6. The 5 chord has 7 and 2. Now, if we reorder those pitches and chords so that we start with a pitch instead of the chord, we see that the scale degree 1 could fit with a 1 chord or with a 4 chord. Scale degree 2 goes only with a 5 chord. 3 goes only with a 1 chord. 4 goes only with a 4 chord. 5 goes with a 1 or a 5. 6 goes only with a 4. 7 goes only with a 5. Okay, and that's all the scale degrees there are, so there is at least one option of a harmony for each melodic note. Now, most of us write music intuitively. We try to find harmonies by trial and error. But this is where music theory becomes helpful, because you can actually predict what chord would go best with what tune pitches. I like to think of it as informed creativity rather than trial and error. Or you might say we're now writing with educated intuition. I don't know. Anyway, let's try it out. So let's say that you heard the tune for Jesus Loves Me for the first time, and you were trying to accompany yourself. How would you harmonize that melody? The tune starts. So let's think it out logically. It starts with 5. 5 with a 1 chord or a 5 chord, right? But it comes on a downbeat, right? Strong beat. And almost no songs beginning on a strong beat open with a 5 chord. Jesus, they just don't do that. So we're leaning toward using a 1 chord. But let's see if there are any other clues that guide our harmonic choices. So, well, as a matter of fact, the next 2 pitches are 3 and 3. And all of the notes are relatively fast. So, is there a single chord that would work best for 5 and 3? Well, of course, just use the 1. So in our first draft, we're going to say 5, 3, and 3 are all being used with a 1 chord. The next pitch is a 2, which goes with a 5 chord. So sure goes by quickly, but for the sake of our experiment here, let's go ahead and be particular, and we'll say that 2 goes with a 5. And then we're right back to 3, 5, 5 again, which implies maybe we're back to the 1 chord again. Let's just go ahead and do that. So again, maybe we just preserve 1 chord through the whole gesture, and maybe we go ahead with a brief 5 chord, but we'll just say 1 chord. The next gesture, 6, 6, 8, 6, 6, seems fit only for a 4 chord, since they all fit that. We could, again, have a brief 1 chord with the 8, but and then we have a 5, 5, which could be accompanied by either a 5 or a 1. Right now we're pretending that this is the whole song, so we'll finish with a 1. All right, so we've made some real quick guesses. Those are educated guesses. We'll see what that sounds like when we work that out. Well, sure, that worked. All right, there might be some other things that we could do, but that we did just scientifically because it would work on paper, and it also works in the ear. Amazing. One more example. Let's try Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, or ABC song. All right. So that's 1, 1, 5, 5, and that we'd say that would be a 1 chord, right? If we're looking for just 1 chord that fits the whole thing. And then we have 6s. They go with 4. 5 could be with a 1 or a 5. And we have a 4, 3, 2, 1. So that would be all right, we just guessed, and sure enough, it works. Now, again, you might make some other choices, but at least we know that it's going to work, making kind of the obvious educated choice. Now, let's try reversing the process, what we might call melodizing a harmony. We have a chord progression, and we need to create a melody that will be fitting and appropriate. So we'll say each of the chords last 4 beats each. We might write them like this: 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, so simple 4-chord loop. And there are many more options than if we were doing the harmony, but I'll just talk you through the logic of one of a nearly infinite number of options. The most common melodic pattern is to start on a 3. So using only chord tones, I'm going to choose quarter note value and say I'm just going to go 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5. That would work. And with a 4 chord, I'll choose 6 and 4. I'll go with half notes for that. And with the 5 chord, I use the same pattern that I used. The 3rd, the root, the 3rd, the 5th. I'll do it on the 5 chord. So that'd be 7, 5, 7, 2. Then we'll go ahead and finish with a 1 when we get there. And so we try that out. All right, not brilliant, but it worked, didn't it? And for fun and better understanding, let's try to write a whole different melody using the same chords. There it is, whole different direction. The mystical interaction of melody and harmony. Using either as a starting point, we can predict what the other component might best sound like. Then, after we try it out, we can add our own creative experiment. And first we learn the rules, then we learn how to break them. So, following the rules, let's see how we can do with melodizing a harmony and harmonizing a melody.